Hey you guys, Mickey here. I hope you're doing well. Today's video is on Cassava or Yuca, and this is a plant I use a lot throughout the forest garden, and it's one that was really good in the primary stages of succession, kind of helping to provide some shade and grow in a really harsh environment when it was really dry and the soil was really poor. So this is a really cool, really great plant. Now all of these were planted just fresh this last spring. So this big old trunk down here is just from a cutting, and what's really cool about cassava, the way you propagate it is just from stem cutting. But cassava, because it's a full tropical, it's designed for this wet season, dry season. So it's designed to go dormant during the dry season. It's designed to hold on to its moisture really well. And so what I do is I will cut some big cuttings and take off all of the leaves, and I'll be able to store this. I'm going to take off everything. The top doesn't matter because there's tons of buds on a cassava cutting. So I'll have this stick, and it'll be completely leafless, and it will just sit. It'll sit in a cool, dry place, and it can sit unpotted for months without being killed, with retaining its viability. Now, if you want to just hedge your bets and give it a little help, you can stick it in a pot and put it, inside in somewhere where it's going to stay cool, and then you just keep that pot dry so it doesn't rot out. Keep it bone dry if you need, but maybe water it once a month. But you're trying to let it stay dormant, but at the same time let it keep some moisture inside, keep its healing going on. But I've seen them just sit, just leaning against the corner of the garage and last for months and still be viable. So the way you plant it, and these are going to get planted come next March, is you stick it in the ground and you forget about it. Sticking it in vertically gives you a nice pretty tree. Sticking it in horizontally, and you get a lot of little trees because they're going to have all the buds shooting up at the same time. So I would plant it vertically, and last year I planted sticks about this size, 5-foot cuttings, which is pretty cool. But I think you could go with a lot less. It just depends on what you're trying to do. If you were trying to get up above some other competition, from maybe you let your cool season stuff get really wild and you want to plant through it, then you'd benefit from having the larger cuttings. So this is worth holding on to as a propagule. But the whole reason we grow cassava is for its roots. The leaves are also edible, but they need to be cooked. Leaves and roots both contain some cyanide, and so it's really good to boil them, cook them before you eat them. So I want to see what's here. Now, you see the big lean, and it actually was chopped before. That was from Hurricane Harvey. So right when the cassava were just about to put all of this energy down into their roots, it was cooling off and the days were just starting to get shorter, Hurricane Harvey came and 90% of the ones on the property fell over. And I think they broke a lot of roots. So we're going to see what we can find. It might not be your typical yield. Cassava is pretty decent yield, but we're going to see what we'll find. So come take a look. All right, Danny, will you come and help? I think we can pull it out. If we can pull it out, then we'll get better roots. Oops, there's the root. All right, 1, 2, one more. 1, 2. All right. So pull it up so they can see and get an idea for it. This is a little bit smaller than what it normally would have been, I think, if it hadn't fallen over. But this is like what you see at the grocery store. We have to go fish out the end of this one and maybe the end of this one coming this way. But again, it could have produced more if it didn't break over, but there's some food here. One thing about cassava that's a little bit different is that it does not store at all. So unlike that winged yam or water yam that you guys saw in the last video, this one we're gonna cook. I'm gonna cook them tonight and take them to Thanksgiving tomorrow. So it needs to be cooked right away. That's why they're all waxed in the grocery store, to help them to last a little longer. And then the other thing If you look right here in the center, there's a woody core that you don't eat, and it'll be pretty obvious if you do cook it. So the way to cook it is you peel it, you chop it up into pieces, and you boil it. And once you've boiled it in water, that little bit of cyanide is gone, and then you can pull the hard woody core out, or you can just let people figure it out when they eat the dish. But it's a really tasty one. So it's very sweet, starchy. So, you know, like an Irish potato, not like a sweet potato, Irish potato, but sweeter, and really cool and worth experimenting with. But mainly it's easy to grow, it's easy to you know, propagate, make shade for you. So it's definitely a plant worth having in the early stages of a food forest. So hopefully that gives you some interest in cassava, and I'm happy to share propagules. I'll have some cuttings. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you later. Peace.